5 minutes after 10 o'clock, it's time to talk golf. The show is called Let's Talk Golf, and your host is James R. Beckett. He's a PGA professional and the Golf College founder at the Links of Spruce Creek South, and he's on the air to answer your questions about golf, golfing, golfers, golf etiquette, golf clothing, and all the above. The phone number here is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 352-622-WOCA, 622-9622. Jim Beckett. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Larry.
How you doing?
Well, now that I made it here, you know, Ocala traffic's kind of like a big city now.
It's getting heavy. And you come up from Summerfield, right?
Yeah.
Is that cool? That's considered Summerfield, that area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Summerfield, where I live, is at the edge of the villages, and I'm in Summerfield and Marion County, and 1 block from me is Sumter County.
Yeah, it changes back, doesn't it? It's like a very short period, and you're in another county.
Right, yeah. Sumter and Lake, they have 3 counties that they're in.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It is weird. We're kind of at that triangle.
Well, I often wonder, what's the little sliver? That's Sumter. Sumter has a little sliver of county on 441, right?
Right.
So how does the Sumter County Sheriff's Office handle that?
Well, depending on the nature of the call, they refer you to somebody else. No, I'm only kidding.
Oh, I don't know.
I think they overlap. They're good. They're doing a good job.
We're going to talk golf, and we've got something. The thing we're doing, the tournament in March, is getting exciting because we're getting close to it now.
It's getting time for people to commit. I believe that you're going to fill up and you're going to have people want to get in, and we're not going to have room because there's only so much room on the golf course.
Like the parking lot upstairs. You said it's filled, right?
Yes, the parking lot's filled up today. But same thing about golf tournaments. People tend to procrastinate on tee times as well as tournaments, assuming that it won't be a big deal. But your tournament last year was very successful, and I think we did fill it. I don't know if you had people turned away, but this tournament I highly recommend because of last year's tournament and because the same people are running it.
That's right. That's right.
It's going to be great. It does go off in the morning. But for those who would like to come a little early, which I recommend to any golfer to come a little early and get the steering wheel out of your hands so you start learning to hold the golf club,
right.
is we will offer my assistance, and I'll have a couple of other people there. For anybody who would like to talk a little about the game, ask questions, we'll do a little clinic, we'll do a Q&A, we'll give a few tips. Anything to have the golfer do what you did last year, and you enjoyed it and had fun, and that's number one.
Yeah.
Number one really is, that's number two kind of, number one really is who the tournament's for, and that's for the sponsors. And I happen to be a veteran, so I appreciate that, and I know they do, and not enough is done.
Yeah.
So bully for you guys for heading this thing up and doing the job you do. And we're proud and ready, willing, and able to do everything we can to make that day a memorable experience, and it should be.
Should be, probably will be. And,
it will be, but you can have a tournament and it's okay. I don't like okay. Golf should be fun, interesting, rewarding, fulfilling.
Now, it's a day before St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Is it Scotland or Ireland? Where did golf start?
Ireland. Oh no. The home of golf is Scotland.
Scotland, okay. But that's close to Ireland. I was trying to make a connection there with the St. Patrick's.
Matter of fact, some people playing near the border hits it over to Ireland when they try to stay in Scotland.
I have a question for you. This week, Lance Armstrong admitted to using steroids and whatever else to win bicycle races.
Yes.
And I don't even understand how drugs make you stronger. I don't understand that, or faster, or any of that stuff. So that's even over my head. But does that kind of tabloid type stuff happen in golf at all? I mean, do golfers like could you be disqualified if you were taking steroids and playing golf?
Well, obviously not, because one of the more popular golfers in the history of golf is definitely on steroids.
Who's that?
Well, I'd rather not use his name.
Tiger?
But we all know who it is. Just look at the pictures. His upper body almost went double in size. That doesn't happen by working out. Your body increases by working out, which I know he does, and a lot of golfers do. Getting physically fit became a real part of the game of success about 10 years ago in golf. And being physically fit and having better equipment and and actually preparing more is why we are shooting the lower scores. But if you go way back, the guys playing with antiquated equipment shot good scores too. So it's a little. What happens is the courses have had to change to accommodate that power. I just noticed yesterday a gentleman was playing on the .com tour, and he's just made his card to go onto the big tour, and he's averaging 326 yards on his drives. Well, that's all well and good, but this distance thing is ruining golf, because people hear and see that on TV, and so when they go out and hit a 190-yard drive, which is what a lot of people do in Florida, they say it's 225, but they hit it around 200, then they get discouraged because, well, how can I play? Well, that's what the Tee It Forward program is. You play the appropriate tee to get out there.
All right, you have a phone call, Jim. Let's go to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim Beckett.
Good morning.
Are you there? Oh, maybe it was the wrong number.
Can you believe that?
I bet you.
Well, they don't realize what a good number they had. We could have talked to them anyway.
Is there a regulating organization for golf that might say, okay, we need to make some rules about drugs in the future, or because they don't have one right now? It sounds like, right?
If some other players who didn't have the advantage that some have did it, if regular players did it, who really support the tour and make it work, they probably will.
Oh, okay.
But it's a double standard. There isn't everything.
Oh, okay.
Our society's become double standard.
But right now, if the player who is using steroids went on Oprah and said, "I'm using steroids," and he's a golfer, he's not going to be in any hot water?
It is going to happen.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think you have a phone call now. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim Beckett.
Yes, good morning, Jim.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, very good, thanks. See, on a world situation, which tournament would be the most prestigious played in the world?
WOCA.
In your opinion.
That's helping bets.
Well, as Larry just said, we think it's the one we're getting to run. I'm only kidding. It's an opinionized thing. Whoever you ask is going to have their opinion.
Yeah.
We have the 4 majors, but quite frankly, there's probably another 4 tournaments that are just as prestigious, but because we have that tradition, the Masters tends to get the headline. I don't know how much you know about the Masters, but the Masters is very different. They're a very private club. It is an exceptionally well-maintained golf course on a magnificent piece of land. And they don't. One of the things they don't do at the Masters, and I don't know if you've been there or not, but they don't rob you blind with the fees.
Okay.
Tickets aren't as high. You can have lunch at the Masters for $5 or $6.
Yeah.
Most places $5 or $6 will get you a half a beer.
Yeah.
So they keep it very uncommercialized, and they control the number of people. So it sets itself apart. I personally think, from my own standpoint, the truest test of golf is the British Open.
Oh, okay.
And it's because of the courses they play on. Our American courses are very, very well maintained, and it's like a nursery denim.
Right.
And that's okay. And of course, they move the PGA around to different golf courses, and they move the U.S. Open around to golf courses.
Yeah.
The Open, traditionally, they tried to make it the hardest. So, I mean, it depends on where your viewpoint is. So I don't know that you could say one is absolutely number one.
Yeah, I know the golf courses, you watch the tournaments on TV, and the courses are just fantastically beautiful here, and they go overseas, and they're ugly.
Well, in relationship,
there's no trees. They're ugly looking.
Yeah, in relationship to a nursery, they are very.
Yeah.
Well, originally, golf was sort of like we're going to go out and get on the turf and see what we can do to get around. I personally like that. I think we pamper our golfers. A lot of our golfers struggle or don't go to the British Open because you either love it or you hate it.
Hate it, right.
Pretty much.
Would you say that the tournaments in our country have bigger payoffs than the ones over there?
They once did pretty substantially. It's not quite as lopsided as it once was.
Yeah.
Now, the European Tour pays a little less. And what's happened with our tournaments over here, in my opinion, is they've gotten to pay too much.
Oh.
That's why it's difficult to maintain sponsorship.
I'll be darned, yeah.
I don't begrudge anybody making a lot of money. I'd love to make it myself, but
right.
I think it's a little ludicrous to make $1.5 million for playing golf 4 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the grand scheme of things in the world. I mean, the golfer could make $750,000. What are they going to do with the rest of it? It goes to their their business manager, their trail. It goes to the IRS.
Okay, yeah.
But
okay, well, it was nice
that's the nature
to
of the game from our country. I think we're going to change that, quite frankly.
Yeah,
I think we're going to balance that out pretty soon.
Yeah. A real quick question with you kind of brought up Tiger a little bit. You think he's going to come back?
You know, I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's probable. Okay. I think Tiger will always be a great player because he's super talented.
Right.
But you know, nowadays, back when he was doing this, there was a lot of intimidation.
Yeah.
A lot of people were defeated before they started.
Right.
These young kids think they can beat anybody. So the competition is way stronger now than it was just 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I know I always look forward to the tournaments. They're very interesting to follow, and great entertainment, great TV, and a great sport. So
yes, it is.
Yeah.
And
okay,
so many great players now, way more than we used to have.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you go down the list of names, and there's so many new names coming up right now, and it's great, you know, to see that happening.
It is.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling.
And everybody's invited to call Jim if you would like. The number is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. He brought up the word prestige. And I have a thought about that.
Okay, I like that.
When an event is prestigious, it usually will attract advertisers, and therefore there's an extra opportunity to make money with that.
Yes,
the Super Bowl is a great example. That's prestigious. You want to be associated with it, right?
Right.
Well, businesses do, right?
I think the Super Bowl has kind of an enigma. You know, very seldom is it a good game. The good games are trying to get into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Like last week, the games were unbelievable.
Yeah, and the advertisements probably didn't cost anywhere near as much. But I guess it's the prestige attracts attention, and that attracts,
I guess,
more eyes, more ears.
We're a strange country. We really are.
We're strange people.
Yeah. Where we need to put money, we don't tend to, and we throw it in areas that it's totally unnecessary.
And you know, and I was joking when I said that the WOCA tournament is the most prestigious. But if you think about prestige,
yes,
and how prestigious it felt prestigious last year. It felt like we were doing a real cool thing. I don't know if cool is the right word there. Honorable, maybe noble or something.
You know, I don't say this with a light tongue. I've done over my career in excess of 1,000 tournaments. Might be 5,000. I've just done a lot of them. That tournament, by a lot of different reasons, no one single reason, was the best outing I've ever been to.
Wow.
You guys laid the foundation base, and I'll toot our horn. Darren and I, we want our group events, our charity events especially, to allow that participant to feel special, that it's not just around the golf. And with your guys' help, getting prepared on your side of the table, and with the attitude of Darren and myself, along with a bunch of our helpers, our guys know how we feel about that. For an example, our outside staff, they treat you just like they would if we had a tour tournament there. They're there to get your bag out of the car, direct you where to go, be helpful. That just changes the whole environment of the day.
Now, you're very visible at the event. You're there. You're there for everybody.
I will be there.
So can we sell advertising space on the back of your shirt?
we can do that. I'll be glad to do that.
Because everybody sees you. There's got to be thousands of people there. So
yeah, there is. That was a fabulous event.
If you have Coca-Cola on the back of your shirt, you won't mind?
No.
I mean the words, not actually spilling Coca-Cola.
You know, I had an idea one time about all this sponsorship, you know, and all the ball players have a number. Well, wouldn't it be ironic if a sponsor signed up a player for his career? So is it, look, Coca-Cola's going out for a pass, and Pepsi just knocked the ball down.
That would be funny.
That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Well, we're that commercial. Look, you go to a baseball park.
Well, that's what happened with the races. When the what was it called? The Daytona 500. became the Pepsi 500.
Right.
I thought, what the heck? Why are they calling it that? And ever since then, it's been just crazy. The one I loved the most was the SpongeBob SquarePants 500 or something like that.
And then, of course, all the ballparks now have somebody's name on them.
Right, right.
And, of course, in the ballparks, every square inch of the fence is now loaded with commercials. And, you know, it's gotten to be so heavily that people see it with a blind eye. They see it, but they don't really record it.
And it doesn't matter, I suppose.
And you know, the guys who are larger in stature, they can get more of those patches on their uniforms. Little guys can't make as much money.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. So if you're in a NASCAR car, drive a van or something. Have more space to put ads. You won't win the race, but you'll have a lot of ads.
And also, you know, when they're trying to thank everybody, they work hard at trying to remember all those sponsors.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
You know, they list about 10 sponsors, and they say, and that's the Coca-Cola Chevrolet or whatever.
Now, in our case, sponsorship of our tournament is obviously to help the Vets Helping Vets group. So
right.
And I believe I don't know this except for the last show that when they were talking about it, that there were still some holes available. So how does that affect you? Like, let's say I'm a sponsor and suddenly I feel like I own that hole. I've purchased it.
Right.
You as a golf course have to tell me the rules. You don't want some big neon sign over there.
We would recommend to anybody who purchases a hole to bring their little card table and set up and do their marketing, as long as they don't interfere with the golf.
Really?
And take advantage of that sponsorship. Absolutely.
Has anybody ever done that?
We recommend it all the time, and some people do, and when they do, it usually works out pretty good. Now, you'll find that happens more on a par 3 than any other hole, but I've played in many tournaments here in the last couple of years. One of the best ones is a hospital tournament down in Claremont, Florida, and they had something on every hole. In other words, depending on who the sponsor was, they either gave away a pin or a hat or a glove or a sleeve of 3 balls or something pertinent to their facility.
Well, that's or
a discounted card or a gift card. I mean, why not take advantage of that? And that doesn't interrupt the golfers, and you're not playing on the PGA Tour when you go to a charity event anyway. The whole idea is obviously to help the charity, have a good time, and walk away feeling good about the day. It's recreation. It's charitable support. It's just a great deal. I love them.
You know, there's another word that is associated with the group of veterans that we played with last year, and the word is respect. Everybody respected everybody else.
They sure did.
And maybe that's another reason why it was such a good experience for everybody that did that. Is you were suddenly among this group of people that is as humble as can be, but should be elite as could be. We put the wrong people in that elite category, don't we?
Our country sometimes is not very smart. We're really not.
But that was a very cool experience.
That experience, that atmosphere last year, is one that we know we can replicate because we still have the ingredients. So we try hard to do that with all the events, and sometimes it just does not happen. I'll tell you a tournament that I don't know about other places, but our place, we work extra hard on hospice, and sometimes for some odd reason we can't get that chemistry that we had last year in your tournament. But we just strive to do that with every single one of them.
Right.
But your guys' input had a lot to do with that. A lot.
Well, I hope it doesn't disappoint this year. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna, now that we know the formula, it's gonna be better. I would highly recommend anybody to come to this event.
You want to play?
One of the reasons,
$60, right?
One of the reasons is $60 is a ludicrous fee. The amount of prizes that were given out and the food that they had for you to partake of is worth more than the $60.
It was, yes.
This is like the wholesale price. This tournament ought to be $125.
Plus, we got a golf cart to use.
Absolutely.
Which was cool.
Absolutely. It should be sold out with 100 people on the standby list, and I don't know any tournaments that charge that little.
Really?
That's a small amount.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Well, if they come to play golf at that time, they just play around the golf. They're gonna spend $39.
Oh, okay.
And they don't get any food.
Okay.
They don't get any prizes.
So you guys are literally taking nothing. In other words, the entire 60, nothing goes to the golf course.
That's also why that price is probably lower.
Yeah. Because you guys are pitching in big time.
It's a large number for us. We do in this prime time. We do some pretty large number days. Actually, we're probably going to have to start taking a small, maybe 50% of a cart fee just to offset the overall expenses, because we have, the day we had 47 people working.
Oh, and you have to pay them all, of course.
Well, we pay them one way or the other. We have some are volunteers, they get free golf. Others are on minimum wage. And then we brought in some extra people who volunteered their time, but we had 47 people besides Darren and myself.
Well, for the listeners, if you can tap into this, and we're not talking golf so much as the tournament, but if you can maybe tell somebody who doesn't listen, doesn't see flyers.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't, this is not something Robin and I do. We don't play golf, but we had fun playing it that day, and we're going to have fun this time.
And like I say, for everybody who feels a little intimidated about the play part, I will be there bright and early, either to answer questions, give them a tip, actually do a little short clinic on do's and don'ts, and to get them so that they're more comfortable in that round. And then we will be out there as well during the tournament. The
day before St. Patrick's Day.
Yes. It's perfect.
There's got to be a theme. All that green.
All that green.
And Joe was using the expression, show you green and play the green.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That is where you'll see some of the, unless you go to a nursery, where you're going to see some of the best manicured turf in the world.
There you go. It's going to be fun.
That's what a golf course is.
The rules associated with the golf cart itself, those are pretty easy. I mean, basically, if I remember right, let's see, you stay on the paved part as much as possible.
Well,
no?
We normally do what's called a 90-degree rule, which
90-degree, yeah.
kind of not true. If you have this tournament, we have 135, 140 players. That means you got 70 carts. So if 70 carts keep running over the grass, it will wear it down.
Yeah.
Even though they say those tires don't, it will. So to keep the golf course as pristine as possible, when you proceed down to your ball, you stay off to the side in the rough or in the cart path, but in the rough. And then once you get near your ball, you cut out, drive out to your ball so you don't delay play. You strike the ball, you go to your partner's ball, and then you go back to go down the highway to get to where the next golf balls are. And when that's done, the superintendent's job becomes much easier. The visual aesthetics of the grass is much more appealing, but the playability of the grass to hold the ball up and give it that little cushion, which we all like, is tenfold. So everybody wins. It's not for just one purpose.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So
good thing to point out.
Yeah.
When as long as we're talking about this, when we sign up for this, do we need anything, or is all the equipment rentable? The clubs, for example, can we rent them there? Or?
We will have renting clubs is not very
not a good idea.
Not much of a volume anymore, but we will have. Always have some used sets of clubs. We have a few rental sets. So what we'll do is we'll try to have as many as possible for those folks. But if those folks would tell us ahead of time, we can make sure we got them.
There you go.
Clubs.
So if you want to golf and you don't even have any clubs and you don't really want to buy a set.
And clubs aren't just generic. If a big fellow like yourself wants clubs, I'm going to try to get you a set that's a little bit longer, a little stronger. We got a smaller person that's lightweight. We want to get a club that's more appropriate.
Yeah,
golf clubs actually are fitted like gloves. I mean, they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be custom fitted, but they need to be more comfortable for you. It's like getting a rental car and setting the seat where you want it.
Your favorite song is about ready to play.
Fantastic.
Here it comes. I don't know what it's called. We call it Jim Beckett. Jim, how do we get a hold of you? What's a good number to call?
My personal cell number is 352-470-3876, and it rang twice driving up here today.
And of course, if you want to play in the golf tournament, you have to call us here at the radio station. We'll take care of that.
Call the radio station. If you haven't met these guys, you're in for a treat. They do a great job. I wouldn't do this if they weren't super. It's one of the most pleasurable things I do every week.
Well, that's always nice when I hear you say that. And it was so much fun last year. I'm looking forward to it. March 16th is the golf tournament, and of course, down at the Spruce Creek South.
In the Spruce Creek.
Creek.
We have 2 courses lined up, depending on the amount of golfers we have.
Okay.
So we got the golf courses covered, and don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
You can always cancel out, but once we sell out, there's no more space.
And if you can't play and you want to sponsor a hole, we've got sponsorships for holes still available.
Sponsorship of the hole is money well spent, especially if you're there to promote your own craft or your own.
And getting back to that word respect, I think a lot of people think out of respect that, well, I'll just put a little sign there and I'll kind of stay away. But if you're giving permission to put up a card table, that's pretty cool.
Well, in this particular event,
just wear a helmet because we're going to be playing. Don't forget.
But you're going to be on you're going to be on a tee rather than a hole.
Oh, okay.
See, on the tees where you have everybody together and it's break and play.
Okay, that's where you put the card.
You're not interrupting the play because you're on the tee.
Jim, always a good show with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure.
We will take a little break, and we'll be right back. The award-winning composer for Sesame Street is coming up. He's written a fun book called Encyclopedia Paranoica. It's a fun book. We'll be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. You know the name. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Family owned and operated since 2002. They have free estimates. Just call them at 352-629-2